Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the Frontline Changes report for the past 24 hours for the day of 1119 for the 18th of March for the Ukraine war or the special military operation in Ukraine. And so do subscribe to the DPA War channel, which is this one. No, DPA War channel. This is a separate channel from the main channel. So this is the main channel, this is the War channel. Subscribe. In fact, if you really is a big fan, do subscribe to everything. But I think subscribe these three big ones, and of course, if you like to talk about geopolitics, subscribe to Open Mic as well. So yeah, so because I may be moving the SITBRAP back to the War channel as I'm pondering the best way to go ahead with a content strategy. So far, I think it's not very efficient what I'm doing now. So whatever it is, just support, just subscribe. And of course, for this channel is the main channel. Subscribe because we are going for 100,000 subs. So it's very important for you to subscribe. So we're going to start off with the frontline changes over in Bakhmut, over at the Sumy region in the Kursk front. Russian forces have been geolocated in the southern area. So this is 18th of March as the Russian forces have gone south over here. And which means that the Russian forces that advanced southward. However, we did not include the other side because there is a river along here. So there is a possibility that these two sides of the town is actually very separate in terms of as a battle line goes. So this river is the Loknia River. So this is Bakhmut. The distance traveled by the Russian forces is around 1 kilometers plus. So that's the situation at the Battle of Bakhmut. The next frontline change after Bakhmut is over at the new flank over in the southernmost part of the Kursk front. This is a totally new place because the Ukrainians have launched an attempted assault into this area here. But this operation have not been very successful. It basically has stopped in its track, basically right at the beginning. Based on the footage, there is a geolocation of Ukrainian armored vehicles getting hit by FPV drone along this road. And just some additional notes, there is basically a dragon tooth line all along the road here. So there is a proper defense line that is not indicated on this map, that the Ukrainian armored vehicle just cannot just simply pass through. So they were detected and hit by FPV drones. But this shows that the Ukrainians do have an incursion into the Russian territory, capturing some grounds around here. But of course, this is arbitrary. They can't possibly entrench themselves around this area here. But this also put a possibility that all these areas here could potentially have Ukrainian infantry infiltrating, because I don't think the Russians are nearby due to the use of the FPV drone. So, but anyway, this is the frontline change over at Demidovka. This Demidovka in the Russian territory. And for another additional note, Russian population have been evacuated from this area here. So due to the fighting in this sector. So fighting is still ongoing. The Ukrainians are still trying. So we move on to the next frontline change is over at Zapadny. So over at Zapadny, this is over at the Vesna front. So Vesna is over here. And Ukrainian forces has been geolocated. You can see this marker. I just mapped this in. So this is the latest report on the 19th of March. Ukrainian forces have been geolocated over in the northeast of Shapkivka or the south of Zapadny. Give me a second, I need to move the arrow down. So, which means the Ukrainian forces have basically taken back some grounds in the south of Zapadny. So this advance is at least a kilometer. So this is pretty important for the Ukrainian forces. And so we move on away from this front line. This change is probably it could have already happened a few weeks ago because of the Ukrainian offensive in this region. We have no Ukrainian reports on Ukrainian attacks. So this could be some time ago where they established this position. So we move on from Zapadny. We go on to the next frontline change is over at Nefsksk. So over in Velyka Novosilka, now previously known as Nefsksk, Russian forces, according to Ukrainian mapping, Deep State UA map that the Russian forces have captured the forest in the west of Zapadny, as well as some of the Gali region on the western part. This also comes along with the this geolocation that confirms that Russians have basically secured the western part of this along this river and Nefsksk as well. So this confirmed the Russian advance in this sector. So the maximum extent of the advance is around 1.5 kilometers. So this is a pretty extensive push. But like I did say during the sit rep, this is a very complicated front. The geography here is very messy, so it's very advantageous for the defenders. So let's see how this continues to play out. And then we go on to Ozarianivka, basically at the Bakhmut front. So this is Bakhmut. Over in the southern flank, Russian forces has been geolocated. So I need to move like this so you can see Druzhba. So geolocated over this here, southwest of Ozarianivka, confirming the Russians have basically made great advance in this sector southwest of Ozarianivka. This comes at the same time where Russian forces is geolocated in the north of Druzhba, confirming the Russians pushing out of Druzhba towards the northern in the northern outskirts. So the maximum extent here from the geolocation is around 1.5 kilometers as well. The front line is pretty big. It's around almost 3 kilometers. So this is a pretty long front line. And this comes at the same time where the Russians are pushing out from Druzhba. So this is basically like a pincer of salt. So any Ukrainian forces here, it's time to bolt because it's getting a little bit dangerous. But of course, you should follow your military orders. Don't get court-martialed. You rather die than to betray your country, right? That's what I think. So, and that's all from this area at Thorax and the southern flank of the Bakhmut. The next frontline change, we jump to Andriivka front. So over at this area, this is Andriivka. And this Andriivka front, there's a few major changes in this sector. So Russian forces have been geolocated southwest of Konstyantynopil, which means that they have advanced in this sector. However, Ukrainian forces is geolocated in the center of Konstyantynopil. So this is a very weird situation where you have the Russians pushing in the south, the Ukrainians pushing in from the west. So what is the reality is up to debate. Ukrainian forces also geolocated basically in the northwest of Andriivka, confirming that Ukrainians have successfully taken back some grounds along the tree lines at Andriivka. So the Ukrainians are conducting offensive operations to retake some of their lost positions. So so great days for the Ukrainians ahead. Kursk never happened. Kursk front is not a thing. No, don't think about Kursk. Things are good. No, not too bad. Not necessarily good, but not too bad. Just don't watch the news also. No, watching the news is bad also. No, stay away from the news. Don't look at the Kursk front, and things is not too bad. The Ukrainians are competing pretty well with the Russians. Okay, so the distance here, this is around 500 meters. The one over at Konstyantynopil is around almost 1 kilometer. The Russian advance is around 700-800 meters. So that's about it from this area. Just to show you the possibility of what is happening, this geolocation might be a bigger advance by the Russian forces across this entire region, moving in the direction of Rosliv. This is a possibility. So we are only seeing a small section of it through the geolocation. So this might explain why the Russians are moving in this area while the Ukrainians are having some success within Konstyantynopil. This could explain it. So we just wait for more information as the information develops and get released by the different sources or by the official sources or by geolocation or by video footage, whatever. We will be able to know more. But tentatively, this is as best as we have. So, and there's one last front line changes is over at the Velyka Novosilka front. This Velyka Novosilka. And over in the Privilny region, there's a small change according to the Ukrainian mapping. Russian forces have taken basically one of the tree line junctions, or at least taking half of it. There's an entrenchment around there in the south of Privilny. So if I zoom in, you will see that there is some alleged defense line around here, should be Ukrainian. So the Russians already have taken positions along this area. And most likely the Ukrainians have already abandoned because this is already marked as a gray zone. So most likely the Russians have already taken it. So a small tactical change around this sector. Also, that's it for the frontline changes. We look at the total area captured. So the Ukrainians have quite a number of frontline changes around here, and you can see it's pretty equal here and there. The biggest one is over Andriivka for the Ukrainian side over here, which is these two areas, the counterattack into Andriivka, as well as this area at Konstyantynopil where they attack into the center of Konstyantynopil. So this is the biggest one, and then the next one is at the Vesna. Vesna is the one at the south of Zapadny. That's the next one. So, but it's all pretty equal. And of course, the 1.12 square kilometers at the Kursk where they incurred into the southern flank in this new front line where the Ukrainians are trying to attack into the Bakhmut region. For the Russians, the biggest is over the Bakhmut front and then the Liman front. So at the Bakhmut front, the capture of this area around south of Ozarianivka is a massive one, almost 3 square kilometers. And then Liman itself is also pretty big. Over the Liman front at the Nefsksk region, this one here is the next biggest. So let's do some mathematics for these past 24 hours to see how things are faring for the two sides in terms of area captured, or at least frontline change on DPA's mapping, not reality. These are not reality, this only on DPA's mapping. I just want to say, for entertainment purposes, don't take it too seriously. So let's count the Ukrainian one first. 1.12 plus 1.44 plus 1.55. So the total area captured by the Ukrainians is 4.11 square kilometers. So let's do the Russians. So this for the Ukrainian one, this is actually not bad. This is actually not bad. For the Russian one is 2.04 plus 2.94 plus 3.3 plus 0.38 plus 0.75 plus 0.18. The total area captured is just off 10 kilometers. 10 square kilometers is 9.59 square kilometers. So not bad. Around the 10 square kilometers mark where the Russians are doing. So the Russians are still progressing on the same pace, more or less the same pace. So we will continue to monitor the situation in the Ukraine war. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I want to publish the sitrep earlier. So that's the main reason why I'm now considering to push the sitrep back into the war channel, and also to make it more technical, or rather, because it's more technical, it might be more boring for some of you guys. I saw some of the comments I did ask in the previous video, what you all think, and some say that it's a bit, they're not so interesting. So that's why I'm thinking put it back to the DPA War channel. Because I experimented putting it on the main channel, but of course there is some success because of the Kursk front collapse. But generally speaking, I feel like I want to find more airtime for the main channel to publish more interesting news or more entertaining stuff. Or maybe it's going to be a frontline changes conclusions mix on the main channel. So the frontline changes conclusion mix. Hopefully I do conclusion more regularly. And then the sitrep will be a simplified sitrep. That means no more going through the sources so intensively, where I circle all the sources, but then I put it on the war channel. That could be a possibility, because I cannot, because people complain the video is too long. But actually it's also very draining for me to go into a lot of details. So I will see how to balance this. So that's why I need your support to subscribe on both sides, the DPA channel and the DPA War channel. So both channels are very important. And of course for this channel, 100,000. So anyway, just support me. I will do my best. I promise you. I have not failed you for the past 3 years. I will not fail you now. I'll see you guys in the next update.